absolute gold. Oh my goodness. So I made a video not too long ago about black people becoming extinct in 5 years. And I think that video is still pretty accurate and holding up today vis-a-vis the argument over who started hip hop, okay? They're arguing about the origins of hip hop and completely, ignoring as far as who's making money off of hip hop, who owns the copyrights, who owns the trademarks, right? That's where we are, and I think that's a very much an issue of COINTELPRO. Having said that, one thing I did not account for in that video was the hatred that many racist white men in America today have towards black Americans. I knew there was a hatred, and I knew that they love to sow confusion and, disdain for one another just to have us, doing nothing, right? Just arguing about stupid stuff that's not going to move the goalposts towards anything that would actually empower us. But they overplayed their hand, and I'm going to tell you why. So their whole concept was to get white people back in power, okay? Because in their minds, the America's attacking white men, and white men are in trouble, and woe is me. So their whole concept, as we saw with the last election, was to get many of the black ignorants, that's what I refer to them as, but the black MAGA, the pro-black, and to get them to peddle anti-Kamala Harris talking points, which is what you saw on YouTube, which is what you saw on Twitter, right? A very strong campaign of many people who proclaim to be pro-black attacking Kamala Harris. Now, by doing that, they get Trump, who they believed, as they saw, was for white people, was for white men. That was their main goal. That's why you saw when Trump, he didn't mention anything about black people. He didn't mention any platinum plan. He didn't mention any reparations. As a matter of fact, he attacked Kamala Harris for being in support of reparations. Their whole plan was, finally, we got Trump. In addition to Trump, we got Elon Musk, right? So now we got the richest man on earth to be for white men. And we got Trump, who's a white man, who's for white men. So we're winning. What? They failed to understand, and it's comical if you think about it, but what they failed to understand is that they didn't get working class white men in the Oval Office. Who they decided to put in power were elite white men, but they were capitalists. That's who they decide to put in power. Now, you have to understand, when it comes to immigration, what was the big focus of Trump, of MAGA, of white men? Hey, we've got to get these black and brown people out of here. That's what we got to do. And you notice they exploited many of the, black MAGA, many of the pro-black to jump on this talking point, where you had many of the pro-blacks talking about, yeah, you got to get them out of here, man. You got to get them out of here. What it was is that white men, that's what they were really concerned about, is that white men were losing jobs. Instead of hiring a white man for the construction and whatnot, they would hire an illegal because it was cheap labor. Think about that. Think about this. Cheap labor. Who does cheap labor benefit? Now, yes, it benefits us at the end of the pipeline, but at the top of the pipeline, it benefits the corporations. It benefits the capitalists. It benefits the owners of these companies. That's who it mainly benefits, because they get to take more of a profit. So upon getting many of these black, pro-blacks to talk bad about illegal immigration, they were like, hey, we're going to get the W, because now these jobs are going to go back into where? White people's hands. That's where the money is going to go back into white people. White men are going to get hired. What they did not take into account was that these people were capitalists. Elon Musk is a capitalist. Vivek, they talk about Doge, capitalists. That's who they are. So now what has happened? So you have Elon Musk talking about, hey, we want to make America great again. But the best way to make America great again is by getting the best talent no matter where they are. Think about this. Elon Musk is talking about meritocracy, meaning that, hey, no matter where you are, whoever you are, if you're the best person for the job, we're going to hire you. Now, the reason why Elon Musk is getting backlash for this is because what do you think that white men, these white men who promoted Trump, who promoted Elon Musk, Vivek, and the rest of them, what do you think that they were talking about when they meant meritocracy? The same thing that many black Americans have been telling y'all, that it had nothing to do with merit, it had to do with white.
and offering to do the same work for next to nothing. They took our jobs.
When it comes to many of the racist core of the Republican Party, the racists, I would say in this country, based off this election, many of the racist white males in this country, what they want is white men. That's what they want. So when they talk about meritocracy, we see this as Charlie Kirk. What were they fearing? What was the whole concept of DEI, CRT, all of this? It was making white men, white people, white children feel like some type of what they call white guilt. That's what they wanted to remove. They wanted to get rid of that. It had nothing to do with meritocracy, had nothing to do with merit. It had to do with white men going to the back of the line, because what they had been benefiting from, even from the history of this country, was nepotism, right? We see this with affirmative action. Affirmative action had nothing to do with, well, we got equality and all this. It had nothing to do with that. It had to deal with black people taking white men's seats. That's what it had to deal with. So when they talk about affirmative action, they don't care that white women benefited from it. That is not the issue. The issue is that black people benefited from it. Okay? That's the issue. That's why they got rid of that. When it came to DEI, it's the same thing that they did to our ancestors. You had black men who would get these degrees, would go to school, get in debt, and then they weren't able to find a job. Why? Because the racist business owner didn't want to hire your black butt. That's where we have an issue when it comes to the schools, right? You get all this education. They keep telling you get education, but what they fail to tell you is what happens when the employer doesn't want to hire you. You have all the credits, you have all the credentials, you have the educations, you pass the test, but they don't want to hire you. Because why? They want to favor their own. So where does that leave you? Up the creek without a paddle. Damn. Follow me here. Follow me, because this is their idea when it comes to meritocracy. It was white. It had nothing to do with merits. So now when Elon Musk is talking about this, he is failing to understand is that, hey, no, don't hire a Vivek, don't hire the Indian, don't hire the Mexican, don't hire the black, hire the white man. Hire me. That's what we meant by meritocracy. We didn't actually mean to look for merit, right? That's not what we were talking about. We're the ones that are suffering. Hire us. We want to provide for us and our families. You're one of us, aren't you? This now conjoined with Vivek. Because Vivek, oh my God, it's beautiful because it's a 1-2 combo, right? Vivek then talks about, hey, it's a culture problem. Vivek is talking about, hey, we have a culture problem here in America, that you guys are very much lazy, that many of the STEM, right? You're not going to become an engineer by watching some of these TV shows. That's not what's going to happen. We have got to fix American culture.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
This is absolute poetic justice. Because what have many of these racists been saying? What have many of these racists been talking about black people? Instead of calling us an N-word, what do they say? Oh, that's a thug. Instead of calling us an N-word, what do they say? Oh, that's a culture problem. And you see this with many of the black Republicans who try to be, racist light. They try to be white supremacist light by saying, hey, it's not because you're inferior and you're a bunch of monkeys. It's because it's a culture problem. It's a culture problem. But what they fail to understand is that even if you want to use that as a scapegoat for the actual racist undertone of what you're saying, that even still, who created this culture? We didn't create it. We're not in charge of the studios. We're not in charge of the media. We're not in charge of the execs. We're not the head there. So who created this culture that is somehow flourishing? And these people are monetizing this degeneracy that you deem to be degenerate. Who are these people? They surely don't look like black people. They don't look like you and me. So who are these people? Who could they possibly be? So even going that route, they expose themselves.
He's out of line, but he's right.
But the beauty of that is that now you have Vivek who is giving them a mirror, who are saying, hey, you guys are lazy. All right, you guys are the ones who aren't working hard. And you have Elon Musk saying, hey, we want meritocracy. We want the best person for the job. So if that happens to be an Asian, if that happens to be a brown person like Vivek, then so be it. This is causing the racist whites of the Republican Party to lose their mind, to lose their God-given minds, because everything they told black people, they are now being told themselves by other people, whether it's Elon, whether it's Vivek. They really can't stand Vivek because Vivek is Indian, and they view Vivek and the rest of them attacking them. This goes on when you have an employee of X. An employee of X was talking about, what are you going to do, white boy? What have you guys actually invented? What have you guys actually created? What have you guys actually done? Right? You're having an Indian who's an employee of X saying this to white people on Twitter. And these white boys on Twitter, the racists, are losing it.
These future folk come in and we can't get work nowhere. They took our jobs.
They're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They're losing their minds because they can't face the hypocrisy. They can't stand the hypocrisy because they haven't done anything. They talk about how great America is, but what they fail to understand is that much of America's workforce, when it comes in the upper echelon, is not white. Okay, it's the H-1B1 visas. You guys have imported a lot of your intellectuals. You guys have imported a lot of your working class to get America where it is. Even when it comes to the history of this country, we constantly talk about, hey, how blacks built this country, how we are greatly, a factor in the flourishing of this country. What do they try to say? They try to belittle that. No, it wasn't. It was us. We built the civilization. We built this. So now, what is happening? Due to their hatred of black Americans, they are now getting faced with a reality check. And it's a reality check that there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it except scream and cry. And I find it to be absolutely hysterical because the one group of people that have always stuck with white people, always. I'm talking about after the Civil War, we were like, hey, we'll come and fight with you. Really? Yeah, we'll come and fight with you. After the Civil War, after Jim Crow, can you imagine as far as being told that you're less than, or being told that, hey, we're going to count like a quarter of y'all so that they can't, sway the vote. Can you imagine like 3/5 compromise on this and then staying in that country? Can you understand that? Jim Crow, segregation. Hey, it's illegal for you to read and write. And if you do so, we're going to, have you swinging by a tree. Can you imagine staying in that country? Do you understand how brainwashed you have to be? Do you understand when I talk about, Stockholm syndrome? Black Americans are the perfect example of Stockholm syndrome. We see this currently with some black Americans, not all, but some of them trying to, as far as belittle and denigrate Africa, where we come from. They are trying to separate themselves like, hey, we're not like them, okay? We know black. We know black. Do you understand that these are the people that these demons were trying to attack? They were trying to attack black Americans. Black Americans are literally, we are a house Negro, okay? That's just what we are. We are a house Negro in America. And white racists hated us so much that they were doing everything to destroy us. That they were willing to work with Vivek Ramaswamy. They were willing to work with other races, okay, in efforts to attack us. The one ally that has been with them from the jump, bruh. The one ally. Do you understand our whole existence in this country is to just be accepted? If you think about it, if you look at it throughout history, our whole history in this country, as Africans who came here in the country, were taken here, stolen, was just to be accepted. Hey, we just want a place to stay. Hey, we just want to, sit next to you and eat, right? We just want to get along. Can't we all just get along? There was no concept of, hey, what are all this, messed up stuff? We want some reparations for that. Hey, we want this, we want that, because they would shut that down. And what came from shutting that down is a conditioning that now has many black Americans, FBA, and also whatever you want to call yourselves, more in line and akin to white people here than to Africans, then to black people, then to Caribbeans, then to whoever else is in the diaspora. And we are the same group of people that these people are trying to destroy.
Damn.
Where now they're being told everything they told black people. There was a white guy talking about, well, I had a son who went to school, he has degrees, and he still can't find a job. It's because he's white. White men can't find jobs. What did they tell us when black people were to say that? Hey, listen, I went to school, I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I can't find a job, bro. I don't know what's going on. What did they tell us? Well, lift yourself up by the bootstrap. Well, then create a job, okay? Well, then go somewhere that they're hiring you. When we would tell them, hey, they're discriminating against us, what would they tell us? Well, then just don't go there, okay? Simple as that. Don't go there. Go to somewhere else. Now, they are being faced with the same circumstances, the same predicament, and where are they looking for help? They're not looking. Don't look over here because you're not going to find any sympathy. Because everything that's being told to you, you told to us. Okay? And I hate to say that you won't find any sympathy because knowing black people, we're going to be sympathetic. We're going to be like, it's okay. It's okay. Tom, you'll get through it. It's okay, Peter. You'll get through it. We'll get through this together. Because, the Stockholm syndrome is crazy. Okay? The conditioning is crazy. That even despite this, we'll be like, hey, we can do this together. It's all right. Even though you told us this, right? We're going to see if we can help you out. We're going to see, this is the struggle. We're in this together. And I find it to be absolutely hysterical that you're having Indians tell white people that, hey, your culture is trash. The reason why I'm in this position is because I have a culture of hard work. You guys have gotten lazy. That's what you've gotten. What was the last civilization you created? What was the last invention that you created? Y'all not doing anything. We're doing everything. So
ironic.
The funny thing is, they constantly, the way that many of them are coping with this, because think about this. This is the bow on top of this, stupid Christmas gift in this country. The bow is that their way of coping with their inferiority is by belittling black people, right? When it comes to crime, what do? Oh, well, y'all know you're only 13%, but make up 50%. I hear you. But let's look at your numbers. When was the last time you looked at your numbers? Well, it's not about my numbers, right? I hear you when you want to come to, in poverty and everything. Do you understand over half of white people are on welfare? That y'all are at the bottom of the totem pole? Doesn't that alarm you? But it doesn't. Why? Because the white elites have got the majority of the white people to criticize us. So as long as they're ahead or above someone else, they're okay, in the trailer park. They're okay living paycheck to paycheck. They're okay with no health care. They're okay with no dental. They're okay with wages being stagnant. That is the hustle. And it goes back to Lyndon B. Johnson's quote, as I bring up time and time again, is that as long as they feel that they're superior to black people, then you can go in their pockets all day, every day. And these dummies took that concept and put it into action. They were so hateful of us that they actually put into power people who were using them and abusing them this entire time. All right. They thought because they were just abusing us that it was OK. But now you see that, hey, these are ruthless capitalists. They will hire a machine before they hire you, white man. Do you not get that? They don't care about as far as whiteness. They care about their money. So if whiteness pays, great. If it doesn't, they will hire Vivek. Okay? That's what they will do. They will hire whoever is willing to take the pay cut or whoever willing to do the job without any type of criticism, without any type of complaints. That's what they're willing to do. And that right there is what you overlooked due to your blinded racism of black people. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe, Lucas, you're black. Because that's really all they could say, bro. All they could just know is just pejoratives at you because they can't fight the truth. They can't fight the truth. So they've developed ways to cope with their inferiority, with their shortcomings. And guess who's their punching bag? We are. Or if you have believed, this is absolutely hysterical. This is absolutely hysterical to see all the hatred thrown at us just deflected. It's a mirror. It's a mirror to show that, maybe you'll learn from this. Maybe you'll learn from all your wicked ways. Maybe the lineage of evil will actually change. I doubt it. Nevertheless, if you happen to disagree, you know where to find me, Friday through Sunday. You can call in and we'll duke it out. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think about this scenario. And subscribe and all that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing.
Ironic.